Hello, everybody, and welcome back to SA Smart Chats. I'm Natasha Wilkerson, the co-chair of SA Smart, the Mayor's K-12 Smart City Challenge. And we have another expert for you today on this theme of water. So Jacob Covarrubias is the SAWS Director of Continuous Improvement and Innovation. Thank you, Jacob, for being here. And let me read a little bit about you, and then I'm going to hand it over to give some information to the teams. So Jacob grew up in San Antonio. He went to Churchill High School and graduated from UTSA. He now specializes in innovation, continuous improvement, and business analytics for the San Antonio water system. He worked in this role for over 20 years in both the private and public sectors. He and his team report directly to the SAWS CEO office and work with every department across SAWS to drive continuous improvement, best practices, and innovation across the organization. I love your motto here, Jacob. You can't improve what you can't measure.
That's right.
You're married to 2 kids. You have a golden doodle named Teddy, and your hobbies are traveling, working on cars, building guitars, and building amateur radios that can communicate across the world. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I love it. Well, thanks for kind of providing that information to give some context on who you are. But the stage is yours to share some information on this theme of water. So take it away.
Great. Well, thank you all for having me. I wanted to first kind of give you guys a little bit of background to start out with about SAWS, but and how analytics and the world of water fit together. But most people don't know that there's an enormous need for data analytics at SAWS. SAWS uses a multiple water sources consisting of ground and surface water, desalination, and recycled water to provide 83 billion gallons of water annually to 1.9 million residents in Bexar County and part of other counties surrounding. Our community has a variety of uses, right, from drinking to bathing in wastewater, community and environmental uses, recreation, irrigation, and commercial and industrial uses. Analytics are they're a powerful tool at SAWS, super powerful, because different water uses and consumption patterns are used to create models which anticipate production, distribution, and collection needs from our customers on an hourly basis every day. If we can't anticipate those needs of our customers, we won't have the tanks full. We won't be able to produce the water when they need it. So analytics are used to determine the condition of our pipes and water pumps, which we at SAWS call assets, through our SAWS Asset Management Program. Did you guys know that there's an underground network of over 13,000 miles of water and sewer mains that are just under your feet? That's enough to cross the continental U.S. I looked it up about 5 times.
Wow.
So that's quite a bit of assets, and that doesn't count the ones that go from the street to your house. That is just the mains. Wow. So I think that is incredible. So one of the uses for data and analytics at SAWS is through our satellite leak detection program. This uses specialized satellites and a technology called multispectral aerial imaging. And this uses data analysis algorithms, and they're used to screen for soil moisture signatures. And then this data is overlaid onto Google Maps and given a % certainty and the size of leak for each of the locations by our analysts. So then we pass that on to the SAWS ground crews, and they can go out to each of those points and inspect and repair those confirmed leaks, which when I learned about this, when I came to SAWS, I was like, wow, that's incredible. So analytics are also used to track various pipe assets in the ground.
Can I pause there?
Sure,
so
sure.
Tell me more about that, because I don't know if they've fully captured what is going on there. So how do you have all that data?
So we work with a consultant that they work with other water utilities, and they actually have a satellite that is able to pick up these soil moisture signatures. Wow. And they have a proprietary algorithm that is able to take out all of the so-called noise in the data and give us this these spots that they think that there could be potentially leaks. And then our analysts take that data from there and we look at it and we're able to say, okay, this makes sense or this one doesn't. And we're able to rank them and figure out which ones are the highest priority. So
Very cool.
certain areas like under freeways and areas that could potentially pose a safety hazard around hospitals, things like that, we definitely want to address first.
Wow, that's really cool. And my background's in aerospace engineering. And so I saw the satellite and I was like, how does this relate to water? And so I didn't realize how high tech some of this technology is.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's you usually think, you know, a water utility and satellites, they usually like don't go
Right. Yeah.
together, but yeah,
Very cool.
definitely.
Thanks.
Okay, so another a use for analytics and SAWS, and this is huge for us, is being able to track the various pipe and assets in the ground. So you know, our assets, they can be not just pipes, but they can be the pumps and they can be a lot of our buildings and things like that. But classification is done based on the pipe material, which can be made of iron, concrete, steel, plastic, looking at its size or its age. And then SAWS also uses, we have several teams that use remote controlled robots that go into the pipes and they televise the condition of those pipes. So all of this information is aggregated, and then we use this to create an asset replacement plan. And we use we rank them based on how critical that asset is, and then the likelihood of their failure based on these analytics. But some of the challenges that SAWS to using data analytics are data accuracy and consistency. I don't know if you guys have heard the term before, you know, bad data in, bad data out. So we want to make sure that that data or bad data in, you know, bad analysis out rather.
Right.
So we want to make sure that that data is good data. So reasons for this can be human error. It can be, you know, mistakes when entering the data. Many of this is due to worksite dangers or environmental factors. So we have, you know, meter readers, and there you can see one here, and he's manually entering the read of the meter. But question, so looking at this picture, how many folks would be likely to make a mistake when reading this meter? You open up the lid and you see that inside.
I would run.
Yeah, I count about like 8 snakes in there.
Oh my gosh.
But you know, our readers, they read about 27,000 meters a day. Then that's about over 500,000 every single month. And so this is just one of the hazards that our meter readers encounter every day.
Wow.
Yeah, so this data, it's collected in the field, and you know, so the SAWS data analysts are able to take this data, and they're able, after it's entered into using several systems, and it's housed within what we call a data warehouse. It's like a big repository for the data that's categorized, and they use different types of tools to analyze it and to develop visualizations and data models. They use different types of software such as Tableau, R, Python. Some of the students, I know my son, he's in high school, and he's learning some of these things already, which is awesome. And to build out these models so that we can make business decisions off of. But you know, one of the things that I wanted to kind of touch on is like, what makes a great analyst? I mean, you have people that they're able to program, or you have people that are able to, you know, create a visualization. But what separates a great analyst, or just a decent analyst, from to a great analyst? And a great analyst asks the questions why, right? They want to establish the relationships between the data, what they're seeing on the computer, what the data is telling them, and what's actually happening in the real world. Once this is understood, they're able to explain how it will impact our customers and the company as a whole. So data models, they're used to help make these important business decisions and how we conduct our work. In our group, we go through a process of, you know, we're asking the right questions, we're collecting and preparing the data, we're analyzing and interpreting that data, which just the data piece alone and cleaning the data is a huge, huge part of being a data analyst. And then working with the department or the business to help them implement those changes. And then, we come back around every so often and we review to make sure, hey, are those processes, those new changes that we made based on the data, is it still working for you?
Can you give me an example of a question you would ask?
That we would ask one of the department. Really, one of the things that always kind of gets to the core of an issue is, we call it the 5 whys, which is kind of a Six Sigma, like a lean tool. So you ask them, why is this happening? They give you a response, and then, well, why is that happening? Almost
Hmm.
you think like almost like a child, and you ask them deeper and deeper questions of why until they get to the root of the problem. And then you're able to pull the data for that, and it kind of points you in the right direction as to how you'd like to, what systems you'd like to look at, what processes you'd like to look at specifically. One of the great things about what we do is that not only are we looking at the data, but we're also kind of process improvement experts, right? So we're looking at those processes, and we're able to go out to the field, or we're able to map out these processes and figure out, like, what doesn't make sense? Is this something that maybe it made sense 10 years ago, but it doesn't make sense today? Now we have big changes. You can see the meter reader in this picture. He's reading the meter. Before, they didn't even use these handhelds. There was back in even before my time. I mean, they would write these down. So it's the water industry is changing very, very quickly, and we've got to keep up with it. So some of the biggest challenges for the community with regards to water, especially in our community in the future, are, as Mr. Puente had said, development of innovative new water sources. This is just a picture of, this is a team that I understand that they were able to capture water from just the vapor in the air. And this is something that they're trying to be able to get for third world countries that don't have access to clean water, right? Figuring out how we can encourage increased water and energy conservation, determining how we can make water affordable for everyone in our community, and reliable and cost-effective ways to use and maintain our water assets. So those are probably the biggest challenges, and we've got a lot of smart people looking at it, but we definitely, the world's changing quickly, and anyone who's interested in helping us solve these problems, it would be amazing to take the next step and help us move into the future with us.
Awesome.
But thank y'all.
Yeah, thank you. So I want to stop sharing the screen right there. And I had a follow-up. So you talk about all this great data that you have. Is there any way that the kids can have access to some of this data? Like, is there publicly available data that might help them do some research on some of these challenges?
Well, actually, it's funny you say that, because we do partner with Smart SA on a program called the Datathon. And so there are, it's a community challenge that we've had it for, I believe, the past 4 years, where San Antonio Water System, CPS, the city of San Antonio, we all come up with data sets that we can make available to those interested in data analysis. And they're able to use their skills and what they've learned to come up with insights or solutions to solve some of these problems. I believe the last year, the team that won was looking at the SAWS data, and they were looking at the sanitary sewer overflows. They were looking at the sewer overflows when you have a sewer pipe that breaks, and the wastewater comes up, and obviously it's an environmental concern. How
Right.
can we mitigate those? How can we anticipate those happening?
Okay, so I think that's a challenge to the students, is looking at how can we look at the data and make decisions, which sounds like is your job, is asking the right questions. So I want to end here with a more personal question on how did you get into the water business?
Well, I used to work for the city of San Antonio, but I personally, I had worked for private organizations, but I was drawn to the fact that there, the terminology keeps getting used a lot, but it's a noble cause, right? You're helping the community. Water is our next to air, our most precious resource.
Right.
And if people don't have water, if we don't have clean water and we don't have affordable water, that's a huge problem. And so I've always been interested in process improvement and analytics, and it was a perfect fit, right? So I'm so happy to be here.
That's awesome. Well, any final thoughts or words for the SA Smart teams?
No, I just really I like I tell folks here, think nothing is too crazy of an idea. Think outside of the box. Anytime you're coming up with a solution, don't limit yourself and think that it's something that wouldn't work. The sky's the limit. Use the data to guide you, but as to what the issues are, but the sky's the limit. Be as innovative and outside of the box as you possibly can, and those are usually the best solutions.
Yeah, that's great advice. Well, thank you again, Jacob, for joining us on SA Smart Chats.
Thank you.